Great day in SimWorld, everybody. Good morning and welcome to SimWorld today. It's a Thursday. I'm here. I'm B-Ron. Alongside me, as always, is my co-host Yells. It's what's it? Thirsty Thursday. That's what it's called. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I got some cider going this morning with a little
Okay.
hint of something special. I don't know if I should talk about it this early. But yeah, I'm ready to rock and roll, baby.
Man, hot cider sounds good in the morning. Though, but look, man.
Hot
Let's
cider and
yeah.
vodka. Oh, I told on myself. I told on myself. Oh, sorry.
Well, it's all right. It's all right, man. Well, look, we got some news, got something to talk about. Let's jump right into it. Yeah. So we've been talking a lot about the season upcoming and that kind of stuff. But I want us to look even further than that for a minute. I want us to look towards the end of the season because when it's all said and done, we've had a lot of storylines come through this off season, that kind of thing. But the biggest or best one of the off season of this off season, looking ahead of things. Will it be Akeem Young's move to the North? Will that be the best storyline of the offseason as the season progresses once we get finished with everything? Or will there be another one that comes to mind that could kind of take that throne?
Akeem Young, I'm glad we're giving this guy some shine and talking about him. He played 23 minutes a game last season, 9 points, 7 boards, a block and a half. I think with more exposure, he could have done even more, but he was playing in the front court with Deontay Joyce, playing alongside Roy Mason. And then obviously, De'Aaron Cruz chucking up shots and Suno Chopper going to get his. Akeem Young is a very talented kid, extremely talented, and I know that some schools are looking at him. I've heard personally about some of the schools down south and even some ACC squads looking at him. Very talented kid. The story of the season, hell no. No, I don't think so. I think it'll be a good feel-good story. I like that he followed Coach Hyman up there. There's something
Yep.
to be said about that, and I think that the chemistry is going to be something there. And I think they have a good squad. That's a team that's not talked about much. Again, they are in the deadly founders region, in my opinion. So, I mean,
Mhm.
just coming out of that thing with a winning record is going to be quite an accomplishment for anybody, not even just them, because
Oh,
that's a
well.
tough region, man. But not the feel good story, not by my account, not the story of the season. There's a few ways you could actually go with this, but everyone has favorites, and yet there's fan favorites and excuse me, there's fan favorites and things people are looking for. You could go the way of Tyree Wells, one of the most heralded recruits coming into the season. If he has a great season, it's going to be a story. If he flops, that's going to be a story because there's so much around him. I think
Yeah.
Philadelphia Elite as a whole, them being able to dig out of the
Yes.
basement they
Agreed.
were in last season, can be a story, a major story. Arthur Lattimore making it across the Lone Star. Look, there's so many ways I can go. I think on this one, B-Ron, I definitely want to see where you're leaning. But to answer the question of this topic, Akeem Young is not going to be the story of the year, unfortunately. I'm sorry, kid. You're pretty good. You're damn good, actually. But that's not going to be the story of the year. And can I forget, like, look, it's been quiet because they haven't been on the court, but let me say three names that if we have to talk about what the stories of the year are, whatever the scenario, has got to be what Cooper Flag, Jafet Towns, or Dylan Harper. Whatever they end up
Right.
doing
Yeah.
I mean, those are going to be the highlights of the night
Yeah.
on most
Agreed.
occasions. And if they end up getting outplayed by someone, that's going to be the story of the night. So, and then that plays out over the course of a season. So I'm not sure. I'm definitely interested to see who you think may be the story of the year. The feel good story or the best off
Yeah.
season story, what have you, be Ron.
Yeah, so just want to start, by going back to the Akeem Young thing for a bit, because I that's one that I really like too. You mentioned it earlier, following Coach Hyman to the North with their relationship strengthening. Akeem Young went through some things during the season last season that caused him to have to step away for a little bit, and then he came back and all that. So it was a good story there, and him following Coach Hyman to the North, their familial bond, it seems, uh, is nice. So I like that. But You mentioned Akeem Young and his production last season: 9.1 points per game, 7 rebounds, almost a double double. So look, if he can average, 10 and 10, in per game, that would be nice. It'd be real nice to bring that production to the North. Because again, his offensive prowess, he wasn't really known for that. He was more so known for his rebounding and other ways he could impact the game on defense. But if he can bring the offensive side up a little bit more, like I said, get that to 10 and get rebounds to 10, that's a nice little feather to have in your cap there, Akeem Young, for sure, for sure.
So
Um,
I gotta ask this way. So 10 and 10
yeah.
or a double double qualifies as the off season story of the year for you, B Ron?
No, you didn't let me finish. I wasn't finished.
Okay, all right, all right.
Wasn't finished.
Please
Yeah,
finish.
yeah. All that being said, though, no, I also don't think that it's gonna be the best story once we're all said and done. There are multiple directions you could go. You mentioned a few of them earlier, and I think that for me personally, the biggest one for me, if it were to come to pass, would be Philadelphia's rise from where they were last season to wherever they end up. If they end up playing really well this season and going on a good run in the race to one, whatever it may be, I think that would be one of the best stories of the season looking ahead once we get to the end of this coming season, personally.
And you know what? I'm looking at my notes here, B Run, and I got one. Oh my God, how did I overlook this? Let's see if I can set it up before saying it.
Okay. Okay.
This team did not play well last season. They had some bright spots and a big name player. This big name player bounced on them. Their region is pretty, it's undefined as right now as to who's going to be the one to go get it.
You know
They
where you're
picked
going.
up some players that other teams, how on God's green earth, these kids were not picked up by squads sooner. They weren't number one and number two on some radars, particularly in their region, let alone the fact they made it out of the continental United States. Oceania, SimWorld Oceania could be the story of the offseason with Beauchamp,
Now that's where we're going. Okay. All
Giovanni
right.
Conwell, and can I say it, Damian Luffy. They have the opportunity to be one of the better teams in all of SimWorld Prep just by default of the region they're in if they play up to their potential,
Yep.
and that'll be spearheaded by players that were allowed to get out of their region. If they can just really give that vengeance game, that vengeance record, and make a run, and then you also factor in Olsen Myers, who took over for outgoing coach Robinson, spurned the Rocky Mountain Monsters, said, "Hey, let me go out to Oceania, where he had it popping and he had it popping in Rocky Mountain, and
Yeah.
now
Yeah.
he's going to go there, and he is a quality coach. He's proven to be so." There's a lot of storylines tied up in that, but I don't think we talk about it much because it's down under. But yes, I think
Yeah.
that could be the offseason. That's easily can be the
Okay. I
offseason
like that
story of the
one.
year.
I like that pick, though. I like that. Look, we got a lot of stories to keep in mind once the season actually gets going. Whether to keep an eye on all of these things, it'll be so fun once you get to the games and what matters and that kind of stuff. Speaking of the games, though, small ball is something that it's a different strategy, and for sure, at this level, I think it can be a little more effective because you don't see a lot of teams have a lot of height
Yeah,
because you
just
don't
I'm a
you're not seeing a lot of 6'9", 6'10", 7 foot, 15 to 17-year-old kids. You're not seeing that. But go ahead.
No, no,
I
I
think
was gonna
that's
say, I was just gonna add. You please continue, but
okay.
the real reason is because you don't see kids just kind of pounding the post. They don't have their footwork together. At a young age, they don't have a post game like that. Most kids
Yeah.
don't. And what they definitely don't have is a combination of a post game and size. You got a lot of big guys wanting to be guards, bringing the ball up the damn court. You got a bunch of kids that are 6'4", haven't filled into their body and may not ever do so. That do have some post work, but you rarely have the combination of the two, and nobody wants to work in the post and take that beat down anymore anyway. So you can get away with the small ball.
Fair enough. Yeah, yeah. At this level, you absolutely can for sure. But so there's a team in particular that's going to have to do things a bit differently this season because of some players they've lost and the roster they have coming into the season. That's Bad Boys basketball. I think looking at the roster here, they have a couple of players that are 6'8". They have 6'8", 6'9". They have what 1, 2, 3, 4 players Pride 6'7", Greenwood 6'11", Chamberlain 6'1", and Aho at 6'7". These are all unofficial heights, whatever. But they have a bunch of kids on their team that are under that height, and they're gonna have to play at some point. You'd imagine a small ball kind of lineup. Uh, I'm concerned about that in some respects, and overall about the team, I'm a little concerned too. I don't know how this team's gonna fare. They've been kind of middle of the pack for the last couple of seasons, and I feel like it might be another one of those situations where they're once again in that middle of the pack, maybe even a little bit lower than that because of both having to play the small ball and just the talent that's there. They have some of it, but how much of it is going to lead to wins? You know what I mean? I'm unsure right now.
Yeah, for me, I feel good. I mean, do I think they're going to be 20-win season? Probably not. I mean, it's a tough division. But the thing is, we're talking small ball lineup. I think a lot of their talent is on the perimeter, but a lot of their bruising is on the inside. Maybe they're not huge. 6'11" is huge. We don't know much about Lex Greenwood. I don't know if he's a physical dominating kind of player yet. I haven't seen a bunch of tape on a lot of these kids. We don't know much about what they do. You know what I do know though? I know Owen Pride punched Lorenzo Phenom in the mouth at practice. So there's got to be a little toughness.
And I know Malcolm Chamberlain can play well. We saw it last season.
Very rough and rumble. You want to get down, that man plays with his doobie wrap around his head. And no one says a word. The league has approved that somehow. So yeah, I think he gets down. And he's pretty he's got to be rough and raw. It's not always about size, it's about willing to get dirty. They have a young man by the name from Ludington, Michigan, 6'4", 186. Say what you want about his size. His name is Trapper Die. So I'm gonna go with the fact that he's gonna get out there. He's had to have a fight or two, so he'll get out there and scrap. So the small ball lineup, I don't think I'm concerned with. And more importantly, let's hop into a graphic here. I think this guy that you see on the screen right now will lead the way for a small ball lineup. Samuel Bogus, Big Shot Bog. What we saw last season with him having to defer at times to Lorenzo Phenom, he was still able to get it done. He was leading. Does anybody remember this kid led SimWorld Prep in assists per game while having to slow the game down and dump it down to Lorenzo Phenom? He hit big shot after big shot over and over. And now he gets to really orchestrate and lead this team. So, in my opinion, I think this team will be just fine playing small ball.
Well, look, it remains to be seen. We will find out here soon enough. A couple weeks away from the season starting, a lot of questions will be answered then. But with the season starting and getting in the preparation, that means watching film and breaking it down, getting those in practice, that kind of stuff.
Let me ask you the question here because you know how I feel about this. I saw this pop up yesterday. Pun intended. Coach Pop throwing out some. Oh my God! When Coach Pop doesn't say much, right? Man, but when he does say something, it has some weight.
You gotta listen. You gotta listen.
Yeah, he's been doing it for years and years, and Eli shouted him out. Eli was kind of like our resident Coach Popovich. He shouted him out for that long hair, the long haircut. He kind of gives off some Eli vibes. Like they kind of, I like it. I like it.
Yeah.
Anyhow, but he mentioned kids not watching film and only looking at stats. I have lots of thoughts about this. I think I got most of them out yesterday. We ran a little pop quiz on in the feed on SimWorld TV. We'll probably continue that and see who jumps in there, see how that plays out for people. B-Ron, what are your thoughts on this? I didn't see any comments out there from you, but let's definitely want to know what your thoughts are on this.
Okay, yeah. So as far as how you get them to get interested in it, I feel like it's a bit of a two-way street because looking at it from a school perspective, you can't really make everybody be interested in everything. That's just not how things work, unfortunately. But I will say that for those who are interested and those who do get invested in it, it's only going to help your game get better. But I think that the way that you can start it all starts from a coaching perspective. You have to, unfortunately, I think you're gonna have to make the time to sit your kids down in a room and watch the film with them and break it down with them because they won't be able to do it at this age they are now. Not a lot of them anyway. A few of them might be able to, break it down on their own, but a lot of them you're gonna have to walk it through with them. And I think if you can teach them how to break down the film and watch film, that might get someone who wasn't interested in it, or someone who's on the fence, on the fringes of it, that might give them the push that they need. So it starts from a coaching standpoint. You have to start there. You as a coach have to get those kids invested and interested early. Because if you don't, you know, it they might not ever get interested in it, and it might more than likely have a negative impact on their growth as a player.
Yeah, for sure. The latter of what you said, I absolutely agree with. I'd say that the middle part, I take a different stance on because I think I feel my take on what Pop is saying is you definitely have to you have to introduce kids to things. You have to introduce people to things. But in my opinion, either you pick it up and you have a zeal to it, or you don't. And if it be it basketball, be it working at McDonald's, be it being a journalist. So you say that's what if you want to be a journalist, how can you ever perfect your craft if you don't study it? If you don't go back and look at what people are doing, then you might as well just find something else to do, because that's the only way to perfect it. If you're in something to be middle of the pack, why are you doing it? You got to be doing it to be the best. So basketball is no different, in my opinion. If you're not going back and you're researching who did what, how they went about this, they went about that, this, that, and the third. That's going to be a challenge. So I think a coach introduces it to them if a parent, a player, or if a kid didn't introduce themselves to it. But the internal passion, I don't think that's something you can teach. I don't think anyone taught Kobe how to watch it until his eyes bled, or same thing with MJ or anything else. I'm sure someone introduced it at some point. I'm not sure that they broke down what you look for constantly. That had to be an evolution at that player and that kid and Kobe. Kobe, MJ's, the Akeem Olajuwons, and Larry Birds, Magic Johnson of the world took on themselves. So you got to either you have it or you don't, man.
I think I agree with you to a point though, but I feel like coaches in sports are like teachers, and
can I teach you? Let me ask you, B-Ron. Can I teach you how to like the food you hate most? Can I teach you how to like? Can I teach you how to like pig feet? If you don't like it, you don't like it.
No, you can't. You can't. But I think that you can. I think that using your man, I can't even use your
yeah, because I'm right. Because I'm right.
Yeah, I know, man.
Because I'm right.
You got me there.
No,
Okay.
I think I get where you're going. You could teach someone, but if someone, there's a lot of psychology stuff before we get all into all of that. But psychology, some people are just turned off by the prospect of particular things, and they're not even aware that they're turned off. So I could bring up. Rainbow colored skies right now. Maybe something happened way back in the past. As soon as you hear the word rainbow, you check out. It's clear. Sometimes you sit in the film room. Some of these kids, all they want to do is they want to play. They want to play the video game version of it. They just want to go look at the stats. If they could skip the game, not ever watch the game, not ever know that it occurred, and just go look and see what the stats are they had, that's what they would do. So the film part of it, I just don't think you could force some kids to do it. You can introduce them to it. Here's what it is. You can show someone the importance of something, but it's up to them to actually find it important enough and find and to know what they want to do. Is important enough to them for them to follow that track of success, which is studying.
Yeah. It makes sense. It makes sense. Yeah, I could definitely. I agree with you there in that regard for sure. For sure, man. Well, look, we are almost done for the day. One more thing, as my Jackie Adventures reference for the day.
Have you seen Have you seen this kid? Did you see that last night?
Man,
did you see that?
That was crazy.
Hey, cue it up, monkeys in the back, in case y'all didn't see it. Look at this.
My
B-Run. Look, he mixed it up. This went viral. Tosh Journey? Where's this kid from again?
My goodness. Taj Journey?
Tosh Journey, I think it is.
Tosh Journey. Tosh. Okay, yeah.
What are your thoughts? Did you just get a chance to see that highlight last night, or did you get a chance to see any of the game itself? Did you hear any of the reaction to it?
Seeing it. I saw reactions to it. I fell asleep last night, man. I'm not feeling the best, as you know, so I took an
Oh,
early night. But um,
oh.
but
Y'all
look,
send
I'm
y'all
here
send
though.
B
I'm
Ron
here.
y'all send B Ron some hugs and kisses,
Yeah,
guys.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. But no, it's my first time seeing that, so that's insane. I'll tell you what, that's one way to make a first impression and in your debut on the prep pickup scene for sure, man. My
South
goodness.
Carolina. I think he's from South Carolina as well. I mean, Conway, South Carolina. Kid's about 6'4", 200. I think he's only 15 years old. So I think we'll be looking forward to him joining SimWorld Prep hopefully at some point. But yeah, there was quite a hubbub about him, reminiscent of a couple people we've seen in the past, aka Finish Him and the Ultimate Driving Machine. So excited
Yeah,
about
even Kevon Jackson, looking back
yeah,
way back there.
yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
you really can if you make a good first impression like that, most times, and if you can continue to do that, you're gonna be on the radar immediately. That's just how that works.
Yeah,
That's what the media, not like big media, but that's what the whole social media is all about.
yeah.
You get noticed that way, and that's it.
Well, we know some of the coaches were already doing their poly work there out
Oh
in,
yeah.
out in the Carolina area. But yeah, anybody can go after this kid. Get your EMs up, coaches, squads. Get your EMs up. If y'all haven't heard what an EM is yet, by the way, let's go ahead and introduce that to the world here in SimWorld. Break that fourth wall for a minute. EM, that's our cash. That's our cash here in SimWorld. What does EM stand for? Shout out to Miss Bob out there. EM is an engagement. That's such a great
Yes.
currency
Okay.
an
Okay. Okay.
engagement.
Okay.
Why? Because
Okay.
we
I
need you
like
to
it.
engage. You engage, you get your mints, you get your EMs, you get your M's up. Yeah. If some squads out here are ready to spin their M's, spin their EMs, Toss Journey could be on the radar for you this upcoming season. But yeah, I'm done, man. I was that kind of took my night away.
All good, man. Well, we're done too. We are done too. Thank you all for joining us on SimWorld today, the Thirsty Thursday edition of the show. We'll see y'all tomorrow. We'll have Coach Skinny Washington on the show.
Oh boy.
And yeah, until then, you guys, you know what to do. And remember, SimWorld is the only place where you can see the game, be the game. We'll see you tomorrow.